Guys, joined here by the man, the myth, and the legend, Steve. And Steve, why did we start early today?
Because we didn't have to wait for Tanner.
That's right. That's right. Tanner is always the one that's late. It's never any one of us. And so we decided to start a minute early. Now, today's a little bit different. Usually it's Fintech Friday. Tevis and Tanner aren't able to make it today. So instead, this is Market Madness. And so we're going to go all over the place and on the map. One of those things I wanted to mention, though, is Robinhood is in the S&P 500. They announced that after hours. App 11 and another company that is just barely on the radar was mentioned as well. Both, actually, all three are very well deserving. Robinhood felt very overdue. I know a lot of you guys heard of Robinhood too. So congratulations, fellow shareholders. Steve, are you in? You're not in Robinhood anymore. Are you in App 11 at all? No. All right.
Sounds too much like Mick Lovins now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, back in the day, if you guys recall, I gave in our gift exchange $100 worth of Robinhood, which would be worth a lot more right now. Steve, in return, gave me Block at the beginning of the year, and thankfully, Block was also added to the S&P 500 previously, so it's no longer completely dead in the water. But sometimes they work out right away, and sometimes not. But that's okay. Lots of people happy here. Like Ryan is asking you, Steve, if you're buying Robinhood yet. No. What are you buying? What are you into? What are you focused on right now?
In all seriousness, Ethereum.
Okay.
And you know that's serious because it is so not me, right?
Yes. Oh man. I've been talking more about crypto and specifically Ethereum. I have a video that just came out on BMNR and Ethereum. The after hours, which I couldn't get it to post, file was corrupted. We spent 30 minutes talking about Ethereum and the crypto treasuries. Bootleg Weekly, which is pre-recorded, guys, what's coming on Tuesday. A lot of Ethereum and BMNR stuff. So, Steve, why Ethereum?
So I'll give you the really short explanation, because I think I wrote close to 3,000 words about it on Seeking Alpha last week. So the very short version is I believe Ethereum is digital oil at this point, rather than Bitcoin being digital gold. I also think Bitcoin has no utility, and I just think it's crazy that people are paying what they're paying for it when it was designed to be a peer-to-peer transfer system. And it doesn't, and the settlement's 30 to 60 minutes. It's just crazy considering Solana and XRP out there. So when you really look at Ethereum's technology, smart contract system, and you start looking at the Genius Act, which it was sold it for me. The Genius Act, I read through it. Yeah. I looked at everything, and then I started doing the due diligence on the stablecoins. And Circle stablecoin is on the Ethereum layer 2. What PayPal is building is on the Ethereum layer 2. What Shopify is building is on the Ethereum layer 2. All roads lead back to Ethereum. I think the stat is 80% of stablecoins is through Ethereum layer 2, and 65% of the current tokenization is through Ethereum. And when I listened to Kevin O'Leary over the past week, and I sent Tanner the reel that I saw that was after the CNBC interview, I really think this guy is going to build a tokenized index of collectibles, not just cards, collectible cars, collectible artwork, collectible watches. I think he's going to build a huge index. They're going to tokenize it on the Ethereum blockchain. And when you have companies like PayPal that are doing, I forget the number, 450 billion of transaction volume in a quarter with their stablecoin on the Ethereum blockchain, and you have all these stablecoins running through it, the liquidity aspect is going to increase. A little bit of ETH gets burned every transaction, and the amount of institutional money coming into it with the treasuries, I just think it's going to go up, up, up over time. I really do. And I want to be in it.
Yeah, that was one of those like bonehead moments for me, because, you know, I wasn't the only one saying this. There's plenty of other people too. But back in like August of last year, I was saying like this year, 2025 would be the year of stablecoin. and position myself somewhat accordingly. But what I missed, and it wasn't clear until Tom Lee basically came out, as the chairman of BMNR, and he talked about this, and I'm sure he talked about this before, and it just went right over my head, was that stablecoin economy that you mentioned. It's a no-brainer. Like, okay, that I didn't share.
But no, hold on. In all fairness, it wasn't a no-brainer because the Genius Act changed a lot of things.
Well, I mean, after the Genius Act, or even when that was in talks, but yeah, the Genius Act was ultimately the decider here. So this is DeFi Llama. If you're not familiar with it, Steve, it's a good resource here too. But you can basically look at all the stablecoin economy, total market cap as well. You'll see the different chains here, and almost all of these run on multiple chains. But like Tether's at over, like almost 100 total chains. USDC is like 116. But to your point, okay, market cap is $286 billion. Just on Ethereum alone is 153. So that's really all you need to know. It's not all you need to know. Solana is a player, but I mean, it's 12 billion. Tron, I know there's actually more happening in Tron than I expected always. But 81 billion, yeah, it's Ethereum. This also, like as things are built out, like Tom Lee mentions, 100% uptime. And it's very decentralized. Unlike, Solana, I know Solana bulls think the other way around, and I do own some Solana, but it's pretty centralized, especially compared to Ethereum. Question on Ripple here from Mike, because I know, do you still own XRP? Do you think that it'll replace Swift in the future?
It's hard to tell. I don't know if it's going to replace it, but I think that it can grab a lot of market share, and it really depends. Brad Garlinghouse is now on the Crypto Council, I believe, or he's on one of the Crypto Task Force, and he's one of the most important people in crypto. When it comes down to it, he's the one that's been leading the charge for regulation and clarity. I mean, he went to court with the SEC and won, and I do think as a company, Ripple is going to do a lot of really amazing things. They're already partners with hundreds of banks. And when you talk about cross-border settlements, it's them and Solana. But I think Ripple is a little bit more ahead through the XRP ledger because of all the partnerships they have. So that's why I continue to be in Ripple. Like, that's something I'm not selling ever, unless it gets to a stupid amount.
Yeah, I think there'll be multiple vectors where that goes, but I think stablecoin largely is going to be what's used in that type of environment. But I don't know. We'll have to see. It's still pretty early there. So Ethereum, are you in any of these Ethereum treasury plays as well? Yes. Or are you buying through Ethereum?
All of them. So I'm going direct and indirect. So I'm Ethereum direct, and I'm also in the big three, which I consider to be BMNR, SBET, and the Ether machine. So I don't know which one's going to do better, so I'm just buying all three.
Yeah. I ended up going with BMNR. Just I like Tom Lee in it. I think institutions will be more likely to put their bet on that, which means that they'll actually be able to leverage their balance sheet to buy more ETH. They'll be a little bit more effective in that. And they over communicate, and I love that as a shareholder. So SBET, I looked into it a little bit more since we talked about this on Friday in the after hours. And it just, I don't know. I think that all of them will be fine. Like, obviously, like if Ethereum does what Tom Lee and others are predicting, and what we have in our mind too, and you might have something different there. All of them are going to be good. The question is which is the best, but hey, it's good to be in that. So are you buying any just regular Ethereum too in addition to the treasuries, or just okay?
No, I'm buying Ethereum directly, and I'm buying those three treasuries as an indirect play. Here's why. When I really went down the rabbit hole and I looked at what staking is, but how the treasuries can stake versus an individual with not just restaking, but also staking through DeFi also.
Sure.
I don't know which one of those three is going to do that better. And when you think about it, becomes immediately accretive to the company. They're immediately putting more ETH on the balance sheet organically through that. And you could get to a point where the amount that's getting burned off in a year outpaces what is getting generated through the way that the protocol is set up, and it is actually a deflationary asset in the future. So the whole thing about Bitcoin being finite, yeah, that's great, but Ethereum actually can be deflationary. So it's very interesting.
Yes, I would push back on that a little bit. Bitcoin is by design finite. There can never be more. Like
Yeah,
there's
that's
nothing
what
that
it's
can
at.
happen. Ethereum by design was not deflationary. That's more new in the chain. That is something
Yeah,
that
it's
can
when
change
they
as
went
well.
to proof of stake instead of proof of work.
Yeah, and that's one of the nice things about BMNR and others as well being Ethereum treasuries. BMNR's stated goal is that 5% of the entire
Imagine
Ethereum
if they
stack.
get there. Like if
Oh
they
yeah,
get to 5% and this does what I think it's going to do with the stable coins, because let's be honest, this administration is not even in office a year. The
yeah, oh
adoption
yeah.
that we could have in the next 3.5 years could be so drastic that no matter who wins in the future, you can't change this. Otherwise, you risk not getting elected. So this is probably here to stay.
It is.
I don't get political, but I look at what could happen no matter who gets elected in the future. And the rate of adoption could be so great that this is just here to stay.
Yeah, and one of those like the more positive impact it has on the United States, the government, the Treasury, the more entrenched it is. And usually, it's one of those things. It's a little bit different, but when the government begins to tax something, that thing is never going to be illegal. There are exceptions, but like for the most part, one thing that I think probably a lot of our audience knows because they're talking about Ethereum and BMNR, but it's one of those things where this didn't click for me until like maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Actually, it was during the Circle IPO. I was thinking about this. Is that the United States government has a vested interest to ensure that stablecoins do very well because of a couple of factors. One is, of course, the backing for stablecoins, with just a few rare exceptions, is the United States dollar, specifically in the form of 3-month Treasury yield. Now, the more demand that there is on that, so the more stable coins, and as this phenomenon continues to ramp, the more demand that there is as far as buying power. Now, that means less yield as far as those companies that are involved, like Circle, but it means that that's a good thing for the United States when they need to sell some short-term bonds, especially at a lower rate. Now, the other thing, too, is I'm curious if you think that stable coins are, I'm seeing, massive and multiple ways of adoption over the next decade. And I think that this is something that actually will perpetuate the dollar dominance on the global level because a lot of the stable coins are actually held internationally versus here in the United States. What do you think? Does this extend the timeline as far as the petrodollar?
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's hard. It's hard to say because we're still the largest producing nation of oil. So I mean, we're what 13.5, 13.6 million barrels a day. So I don't know if it's going to extend it or not.
Yeah.
We'll see.
At least like 3 or 4 years ago when I was looking at crypto, I'm like, yeah, crypto is going to kill that.
I
And
will
instead
tell
I'm
you
like,
what it's going to help. It's going to
what's
help the transition to a BRICS asset is what it's going to help that not happen. I think at least.
you, you mean help BRICS itself or help
No, no, no.
reserve the
Help
impact of BRICS?
eat, help us have our status as reserve because I think this
Oh, yeah.
hurts
Yeah.
the whole BRICS movement of them having their own coin or their
Oh,
own
absolutely.
system.
Yeah, completely agreed there too. So yeah, United States has, no matter what way you slice it, and they understand this. You can tell the way that Paul Atkins is talking about it. Donald Trump, of course, the crypto czar, David Sachs. They get it. They understand how important this is. Tom Lee is spreading the good news of Ethereum and stablecoin as well. So yeah, it's here to stay. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, this to me, like finally this week, I'm like, okay, I've got a good amount of money in my swing portfolio. I've exited some of those just because with swings you put a limit on what you're willing to lose. At least I do. And so I was sitting on cash, selling some cash ticker puts on some companies I wouldn't mind owning. They weren't filling. We're in a bull market. And I'm like, you know what? The yield on this thing, like, are you, so BMNR, it's in my swing portfolio. I am largely willing it back and forth, and the premiums there are ridiculous. And so I'm going to use the premiums in one of two possible ways. I haven't figured out what percentage I want to do, or maybe all one or all the other, but it's either going to buy just shares in BMNR or it's going to just buy more Ethereum. I don't know. We're in September. Crypto is seasonal, but I think this is the time to buy, at least for me.
I don't know if it has to be seasonal, though. I think it was seasonal during a Gensler SEC, but now that we have clarity, why does it need to be seasonal?
Well, that's the thing, and we're also in a cutting cycle, and crypto tends to do very well in a cutting cycle, and we haven't been in one of those since 20. We're actually right at 2020 because of COVID. So we'll have to see. This time may, in fact, be different. I'm always a little bit leery of that, but we'll see.
Oh, look, I wouldn't mind Ethereum going to 3,500 or 3,300 because I'll just buy more. I would not mind that at all. Just, with the amount of money moving into it, I think it's going to be hard pressed to get back to 35.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But yeah, I'm glad to hear that. It's kind of amazing when you're talking about something, just how many other people are in BMNR and Ethereum. Certainly, it shifted from like 2 months ago. Like even myself, like 2 months ago, I did not own Ethereum at all. I just that Tom Lee moment. What's that?
Same here. This is a new thing over the past month. I had no interest in it, but with the Genius Act and really reading through it and understanding it and really doing the due diligence, this is going to sound really weird. I feel the same way I did when I invested in Palantir at $8. Same way. Can't explain it. It's just an inner hunch that I think it's really going to work out. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, like Tom Lee has thrown out some wild, and he's always bullish. Not always, but almost always. But he's thrown out some numbers with Ethereum that are like Cathie Wood like numbers. Have you seen those?
But here's the question: are they though?
Here's
why I say that. Here's why I say that. If Bitcoin can be a 2.5 trillion market cap with no utility, and the Bitcoin maximalists hate when I say no utility, but it's the truth, because who's using Bitcoin for utility? Nothing's being built on it. So the ecosystems are Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, XRP. Like those are the real big ecosystems. Like what's being built on Bitcoin? So if most of the smart contracts and the tokenization and the stablecoins are going to be through Ethereum, why shouldn't that have a larger market cap than Bitcoin? I think Ethereum flips Bitcoin in the future. And when I say the future, I don't mean 10 years. I mean 3 to 5.
And by flip, just so people understand,
bigger market
cap. Yeah.
Bigger market cap.
Not the
I mean, look, can it get to, it would be great for me if it got to be bigger than on a per coin basis, bigger than Bitcoin. But I'm talking strictly market cap. I think it can absolutely flip it, because if PayPal does do this, and then the credit card companies create stable coins they're built on Ethereum layer 2, I think, I can't say for sure. Like I can say for sure PayPal and Shopify because I read on their websites. I think I read somewhere on a news site that MasterCard's coin was on Ethereum layer 2, but I don't know 100% for sure.
But
if that happens, and then you get American Express, you get freaking Visa, where does it go?
Yeah. Although I don't know what chain Stripe is going to run on necessarily, or if they're actually building on a new chain. It's a little bit early on that one.
And you know what made me the most bullish on this? Besides the second most bullish behind the Genius Act? Listening to the Bankless podcast. Have you ever listened to their podcast?
I don't think so.
Oh, let me tell you. It'll change the way you look at Ethereum. I mean, it is incredible. Tom Lee was on it. Joe, the guy from SBET, was on it. I mean, it's really freaking good. I mean, it is,
there's just not enough time.
I went down the rabbit hole. I listened to like 10 episodes in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, Pascal said, yeah, MasterCard uses layer 2. Okay. Almost every stablecoin does. Probably Ethereum. Usually, what was it called again? Bankless?
Bankless. It's one of the best things I've listened to in a long time.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that one out. Doing a bit of traveling so I can load up some of those podcasts and listen to it a little bit.
Like if you're into crypto, it's the equivalent of listening to All In or the Compound and Friends. Like it's that good. Okay,
very cool. So do you have any separate thoughts? So we talked about BMNR. I'm more in that one. I know that one a little bit better. Is this just one of them is going to do? They're all going to do great, and I just want to diversify, or do you have a some specific thoughts on SBET, which is trading under.
Yeah, look, I'm hedging my bets, right? If I think Ethereum is going to do well, then theoretically all the treasuries should do well. I'm not smart enough to know which one's going to do better, so I want to be in the three that I think are going to do really well. And when I looked at the Ether machine, there are two things I really like. The guy who started it put up his own Ether, hundreds of millions of dollars of it, and he said Bitcoin has no utility, which I support. So I'm a shareholder just because. And
yeah, I mean,
with SBET, I think these are really smart guys, and I just don't know. The big differentiator with these three is going to be how they stake, restake, and stake through DeFi. And I have no idea who's going to be more efficient at that and who's going to be able to generate a bigger yield. But I think all three are going to be higher in 2 years from now than where they are. So I want exposure to all of them. I don't know which one's going to be the micro strategy, but if I have all three, maybe I pick one of the ones that does a micro strategy. Who knows?
Yeah. Rilla says SBET is 0 in the downturn. Well, they're not leveraged, unless I'm mistaken. So I don't think so. Unless you think Ethereum's going to 0, which it's not. That's not happening. One might win by a lot more, but yeah. I don't know. Tom Lee kind of pushed me over the edge with that, and then just having that over communication. Plus, of course, the NASDAQ came out this week with that protocol change that they're looking to alter. I think 74, something like that, companies are looking at or have adopted crypto on their ledger and bought that without shareholder approval. And so the NASDAQ's adding that extra step of verification. The way it sounds to me is that they can basically get shareholder approval for a certain amount. They can do multiple offerings. It's not just for each offering. So it doesn't destroy MicroStrategy. And in fact, like one of the things I really liked was BMNR is on the New York Stock Exchange. So they're not impacted at all. And they came out, I think, within the hour of that landing.
I'm really waiting for? I'm waiting for next quarter, because now all these companies have to report earnings and they have to have conference calls. Like, I want to hear what all three of the ones I'm invested in, what they say on the conference calls. It's going to be eye-opening, because they're going to talk about what they're doing besides just buying Ethereum. Yeah. And that's one of the things I liked about the Ether machine, because their CEO is talking about just wait until the conference call when we start discussing things, because now we're obligated to, because we're a publicly traded company.
Yeah. Doug said it this way. I like that too, but maybe there's an intentional pun there. Tom Lee is staking his reputation on BMNR. Joe Donovan, who stakes his reputation on something. And yeah, he's not just lightly involved. He actually comes out multiple times talking about BMNR. He has a monthly, it looks like it'll be monthly anyway, video that he does as far as an update, kind of like what he does for the firm that he's with. But
think about their business model. So all they need is Ethereum to go up. Like, if you are a company XYZ and you're a publicly traded company and you issue shares and dilute shareholders to do an equity raise, you then need to go traditionally invest in people, product, or manufacturing equipment, whatever it is, oil rigs, and actually run a business and produce a profit. But you have tremendous expenses, and you may not have an ROI for quite some time because of just simply retooling or getting production in place, whatever it is. All these companies are doing is issuing an equity raise, buying Ethereum, staking it, and then if Ethereum goes up, they're in the money. And even though you're diluted, your shares will be worth more because the price of Ethereum is going to outpace your dilution. So it's actually a genius way to get more exposure if Ethereum continues to go up.
Yeah, well, the other thing that I like too is the fact that it can be staked, and so they're making some yield. Now, that's if we thought that Ethereum would be flat and they would only be staking it and that's it. I mean, that's not investment worthy at all. But it's just a nice cherry on the top. It gives them some flexibility to buy back their stock if they're trading under the value of their NAV. And of course, if they're overvalued, they'll dilute. So they can go both ways. It's crazy how volatile it is too, and how high the premiums are. But I mean, it is.
So here's the other thing: I'm not allowed to stake in the state I live in. Now,
I forgot about that.
Now, since I can't personally stake my Ethereum, my next best thing is investing in companies that can. But I will say that I don't understand how the government in my state can tell me what I can and cannot do with my crypto. I think that's un-American. It's like, really? I don't understand. I don't understand it.
So if you could stake in New York, would it be medium rare?
It would be medium
Definitely
rare.
not well done, right?
No, we can't have any gray in there.
No, sir.
The
Surely
only way you can have any gray on the inside is if it's a really thick cut and it's just a little gray with the border, because obviously it's a really thick cut. That's the only time you're allowed to gray.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. All right. So one other crypto question that I saw related to that. Are you in Link at all, Chainlink?
You know, one of my buddies who was really big into crypto told me to get into it a long time ago, and I just never did. Told me to get, I think the ones, if I remember correctly, he was talking about Chainlink, Avalanche, and something else. I wasn't into crypto then. The only reason I was in XRP is because I really went down the rabbit hole on their cross-border payment system, and I understand what they are doing and the problem that they are solving. And it's a real problem. And if this works, it's going to be huge. I went down the rabbit hole on ETH because there was a reason to go down the rabbit hole. I'm not going down the rabbit hole on other ones. I'm just not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million.
I own HBAR only because I saw O'Leary talking about it, and I researched it for like 5 minutes and saw all the big companies that are involved with it. So I bought a little bit just in case. But when you see IBM and Alphabet are involved in it, piques my interest a little bit.
Yeah, the only other one that I'm on, other than the three we talked about, the big three, Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum, is Arbitrum, and that's just because the tokenization stuff that Robinhood's doing, also Kraken runs on Arbitrum. I know Robinhood is building their own Robinhood chain, and they'll go chain native at some point. But I'm like, hey, I'll go ahead and swing it. That's not a long-term thing for me. It's just a speculative bet. Yeah, Chainlink, I don't have any I know a number of people that are like very firm on it and very convinced, and I think that they may be right, but Ethereum just seems like a layup to me. So why would I try to shoot a 3-pointer when I'm like, hey, layups all day, baby? Why not?
I don't understand all this stuff. Halfway intelligent. I can understand the use case around Ethereum. I don't have the time to start analyzing this the way I do stocks. There's not enough time in the day for me.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, you only have so much brain space, so at some point you're just like, maybe not interested in that. That's fine.
I was nonstop all day. When I got home from work, I tried writing an article. I couldn't finish. I had to stop. I only did my words. Talk about brain space. I only got through 1,097 words. I mean, normally I'd be freaking done by now.
Yeah. No, same with like writing the dissertation stuff for me. It's like some seasons, especially when things are busy elsewhere, it's like, man, it really slows down what I'm able to do. Even if I have time, the brain is not there. So I hadn't heard of this. ACMA said that there's a 0.2% tax on all sales and transfers of crypto in New York. Is that
sure? Why not? I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't sold anything, so I have no idea.
Ethereum should do well enough. Like 0.2% shouldn't really.
If I have to worry about 0.2%, we have problems. Like, I mean, and here's the thing: I don't mind paying taxes. If you pay taxes, that means you made money. Like, nobody should be mad at paying taxes, because what's the alternative? That you lost money and you don't pay taxes. So I'm not mad at that.
It's a good problem to have. So
it's a good problem to have. I'm not mad at paying taxes.
So I see a couple of questions too regarding bear market. So if we hit crypto winter and it's a clear crypto winter, is this more of a swing for you that you'll get out or you'll reduce, or you just hold through? Yeah.
No, I mean, look, I am putting in money that is going to sit there for a long time. And I did not go all in at the beginning. I have a number in my head that I'm willing to allocate. I am probably 10% of the way there. And I am looking to allocate over the next 6 months.
All right. Yeah. Makes sense.
I don't know if it's going up or not. So if it freaking goes down, I want to have capital to put in.
Yes. Yeah. That's where I'm at. My cash, I've been selling cash and cryptos. I actually bought, I sold out of one swing position, but I bought some shares, sold covered call against it, sold a bunch of cash secure puts. None of them filled at $40. That's okay. I'll try it again next week. And man, the premiums are great. Anything else that you've been buying up beyond Ethereum, or is it mostly just Ethereum right now these days?
I bought some Salesforce, I think last week.
Okay, I wanted to talk Salesforce with you. So
yeah, that could be a big rant if you want.
yeah,
I haven't really been buying anything else except for Ethereum and Salesforce. My eye is not really on anything else at the moment because there is no reason for me to buy other things at the moment. I am considering getting out of some positions. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with some entities at the moment. So we'll see. But I think Salesforce is the biggest value play right now. I really do.
I want to talk a lot about
So
Salesforce.
crazy.
So to answer Sigig's question here, if you had to choose between Adobe, a Salesforce, or a PayPal,
Salesforce.
which would you choose?
It's not even a
Salesforce.
question.
Okay,
Salesforce.
yeah. Right. Well, let's talk about that. They had earnings. There were some interesting things with Mark Benioff. With
him and freaking Carp.
and yeah. So why are you buying? Why is Salesforce the biggest value there on the market? Why are you buying it? What are you seeing?
So look, I thought it was undervalued going into earnings, and I think it's undervalued coming out of earnings because now it's a $232 billion company. Okay. This is a company that is doing $12.4 billion in free cash flow. So you're paying 11 times free cash flow for it. It's insane how much free cash flow this company is generating. It's insane how much the cash from operations is jumping. And look, they should not be growing at the same rate as smaller companies. So we don't need, I'm sure everybody saw that. We don't necessarily have to get into that. But when I look at their profitability, I look at them buying back shares, and I look at where their business is going, I think that they are very undervalued. It's not often that you can get a company for under 20 times free cash flow. And when I look at the forward estimates and I see that their EPS is going to grow on a double-digit basis every year, and it's trading at freaking less than 17 times 2027 earnings, I mean, to me, that's a steal.
Yeah, and it's still growing, actually, double digits, which is important. Large companies like
what are
this.
you using?
This is Visual Stocks.
I was going to say, is this the thing Tanner's using?
No, FinChat.io is really good too. I had a free subscription for a month, but I'm not paying for that service. It's good. It's probably worth it, but I'm limited on time, so I'll use Visual.
I will say, I don't like that Benioff attacked Palantir. I don't like that he attacked the whole thing. And look, you know that I agree with what he said, but I'm not a fan of him attacking other companies. And I've said it many times. A company that's doing $4 billion in revenue, regardless of the growth rate, has no business having a market cap that is bigger than a company that's doing $41 billion in revenue and is still growing, especially when the free cash flow of the company is 13 times as big. It's crazy that Palantir has a bigger market cap. But I've been saying that for a long time. I think it's fine for me to say it. I'm a shareholder of both companies. I don't think it's right for Benioff to say it on public TV.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, for the context, he said a few things. One was that Palantir was wildly expensive. He, on a number of interviews, actually, not just one, he mentioned that Salesforce beat out Palantir on a military contract.
Yeah.
I think that there were some comments on the earnings call itself, but I'm not a CRM sure.
There were a few.
Yeah. So but the biggest thing that stood out to me in that conversation was when he was talking about the pricing. He wasn't talking about the value of Salesforce. He was talking about the pricing. Usually that's a signal that your product is fundamentally inferior, which And I think it is. I think Salesforce is not as bad as people think. I'd used it a ton at the university I worked at every single day. It's one of those that nobody loves Salesforce, I don't think, but it's kind of a necessary evil for a lot of organizations. It's hard for them to fully pivot away, especially immediately. So they're going to be around for like the next decade plus, whether or not Agentforce actually works out. But I would say that their offerings are not well loved, not amazing, not as sticky as a lot of people think. I think it's kind of silly for him to say, "Hey, look, we beat out Palantir one time." It's like, cool. That's like somebody scoring a basket, playing a game of basketball, and they get blown out 100-6. You can brag about those 6 points, but you really shouldn't. And if you're saying, "Well, we're a lot cheaper," that doesn't mean that you're a lot more valuable. So. I didn't like that look. It was one of those things where I was actually looking at Salesforce a little bit just because, not for Palantir, not for Cloudflare, but there's been a shift away from software as a service and valuation. All of it's kind of gotten sold off a little bit. CRM more so. Adobe is one of those as well. So I've been looking at it a little bit, and that just kind of turned me off. And I kind of questioned in my mind. Austin had said this value trap. I don't know if it's a value trap. I don't think that it is, but
this is the road I would have rather Benioff taken. Hey, we are 41 billion annual revenue company. We are still growing. In the recent quarter, we just bought back $2.24 billion worth of shares. We paid out $400 million in dividends. We're continuously growing the dividend. We're growing the buybacks. We are a cash flow machine where the cash flow continues to grow. Our AI product is our quickest growing. It's now over $1 billion run rate, and we are able to generate significant efficiencies in our customers' products. We have a net dollar retention rate of X. I think there's a lot of things that they could have highlighted instead, or he could have highlighted instead of attacking a company that has a bigger valuation, where the metrics are obviously the only metric that is stronger at the moment is 1, margins, and 2, growth rate. But Salesforce, I think, was a low blow. I don't think it was a good look. I don't like that type of stuff. You don't hear many other CEOs take that approach. And Karp can be passionate. Karp can say a lot of things, but he's never named anybody. He just says, our products are better. This is why people use us. And he goes off the rails with certain things, but he doesn't call out his competition by name. I don't think that's a good look. But at the same time, when you go through the numbers, or when I go through the numbers, this is not a dying company. People think that it's a dying company, the same way they think PayPal's a dying company. Dying companies don't grow their revenue.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Dying companies don't grow their revenue.
And they don't iterate either. They don't, make big advances to break through. And is Agentforce like the next best wave for CRM to grow? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure on that.
We're gonna have to say.
Yeah. Did you see the Optimus bot that Elon delivered to Benioff?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that is there like some sort of partnership that you think is going to be there? Is that more of a just, hey, here's something for one of my rich friends, free marketing, enjoy?
Yeah, but what could the partnership be? Like, think about it. Elon doesn't need anything from Salesforce to be put into the bot.
Oh yeah.
If anything,
yeah,
he's rolling in the XAI freaking grok into it. So I don't think there's a partnership there.
Yeah, at least from Salesforce's perspective, I mean, I think it was tongue in cheek. I don't think that he is going to really look to sell Salesforce loaded to the gills Optimus bots for $200,000 to $500,000, especially anytime soon. I don't see it.
No, I don't see it.
All right. Well, fair enough. Are you in Broadcom at all?
No.
You're in NVIDIA though, right?
Yes.
So I've seen a couple of people bring this up too. This is for Broadcom. They acquired a mystery customer with $10 billion in orders. Some think, and I think there's a good reason for it, it's a custom chip partnership with OpenAI. NVIDIA, Broadcom went way up on the news, and NVIDIA went down. Any thoughts for NVIDIA right now? There's been a lot of shift. Of course, they had earnings as well. Is NVIDIA still the clear leader here, or do you think that it's an open competition?
I think I've never seen a company accomplish what NVIDIA has accomplished. This quarter was a massacre, and I hope the stock price goes down more so I can start buying it again. Like this quarter was a massacre. There's no other way to put it. It was a massacre. I was going to write an article this week, but there was still too many articles coming out, and I didn't want it getting lost in the mix. So I'm waiting. I'm going to write it next week, have it come out next Friday, most likely. This was one of the most insane quarters I've ever seen from them.
Yeah. I know Sagig and several others are in AVGO. I don't know enough about it to really comment on it other than echoing what you said with NVIDIA. I mean, like, it's a no-brainer. Is it going to be the best performer in my portfolio? That's not why I'm buying it. I just, when the market gives you, over like 5 years, like easy layup plays, it's okay to take those. You don't have to have a 10 bagger every single time. And I'm with you, Steve. Like I bought a fair bit of NVIDIA. If we get under 150, I'm going to have to start DCAing in it again and looking to at least double my position in NVIDIA.
That's the number that I'm looking between 140 and 150. I'll start buying again because I'll still be dollar cost averaging up at that point. But to me, it's worth it. I look at these numbers. Like I have it up right now. Anybody who is angry that NVIDIA just increased their freaking net income by $10 billion year over year and a quarter, I mean, come on. What are we talking about here? It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like the numbers, it's kind of funny. We almost see fatigue just because NVIDIA's numbers have been so good for so long. It's kind of like a star athlete. You can start over a time to not appreciate them quite as much and be frustrated when they're not like being an MVP every single year.
I mean, I don't even think we're seeing fatigue. I mean, this is still a company that is trading at 38 times this year's earnings, 27 times next year's earnings, and 23 times 2027 earnings. I mean, you think about the amount of growth. Like the analyst community is expecting 50% year-over-year growth in EPS this year and another 41% next year. And you're paying 27 times next year's earnings for that growth. To me, this is the biggest no-brainer right now on a numbers level because you're not getting this type of growth from a company that's putting up this type of profitability ever in the history of the market. There's only been a couple of companies that have ever put up this type of profitability. None of them have been able to grow at this rate at this level.
Oh, yeah, it's an absolute unicorn. I actually, my favorite slide, I'm kind of related to NVIDIA, but Palantir had the absolutely ridiculous earnings of the quarter, just the best of any company I've ever been in while I've been in it, not the best ever of any company that might go to NVIDIA, honestly, when they started.
From a growth perspective, yes.
Yeah, but
there was no blemish on Palantir's quarter. And I think you saw what I projected that Q3 is going to have a 5. Like they're growing at 50% this quarter.
You're referring to Palantir.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way they don't. When you look at what they guided for and you backdoor, it's a couple of simple calculations. They're going to grow at like 49.8%. That's 50% growth. It's incredible.
So these were my two favorite slides. One of them was, Rule of 40 enterprise software company. So NVIDIA doesn't make this list because it's not that company. Palantir is in a league of its own. Yes, it's pricey.
Isn't NVIDIA is like 120?
Well, so here that is. Rule of 40 top 25 market cap companies. Right. Can you see that little dot up there?
Yeah, it's NVIDIA. It's incredible.
These right here, like Eli Lilly too, Palantir, TSM, which probably it's undervalued.
Amazing company.
Appreciated. Yeah. They're ridiculous. Maybe I use unicorns too often, but they're generational companies. They're just amazing and ridiculous. Visa's, by the way, down here. It's not bad either. But I loved. I was like, hey, I own those two. I don't mind that. Small portfolio. And I don't think I actually disagree with this comment, Josh. I don't think NVIDIA is expensive here.
I mean, I got something I can show you about why I don't think it's expensive. I just got to find it, and I just found it. So let me share this. So you know how I love my charts.
Oh, yeah, and I love seeing them.
This is why I don't think it's expensive.
Oh, I need to
When,
remove mine. There we go.
when I look at, and I'll increase the size for everybody. So when I look at all the CapEx that's being spent, the blue bars on the right are on a quarterly basis, and that's a cumulative of the big four. Okay. I ended up adding Apple in this one because I used it in an article about Apple, why I downgraded my investment thesis on Apple, because they're just so far behind. It's crazy. But with
Yeah.
the big four, look at how much they're spending on a quarterly basis and look how much it jumped. Like it plateaued in Q4 to Q1, and then it shot up because everybody is now back on the bandwagon of spending more on CapEx. And when I look at how much more Alphabet spent in Q2 and how much more Amazon spent, there is no way Microsoft is not going to increase this next quarter. They have to. These companies are in a prisoner's dilemma, excluding Apple. Apple doesn't count. These companies are in a prisoner's dilemma. None of them can take their foot off the gas unless they all make a pact to all decelerate. Otherwise, they all risk the uncertainty of falling behind. And that is super bullish for NVIDIA.
Very bullish. And of course, Mark Zuckerberg reiterated the massive amount of CapEx that they'll be spending over the near term. Yeah. So there's a lot of people that I think had in their mind, they're like, yeah, the next 2 years will be great for NVIDIA. And after that, things will really slow down. It's a cyclical stock. AI is not cyclical.
No.
I don't know how anyone can take that.
And look at the profitability from those companies. You know, some people are saying that these companies are going to slow down on spending. No, they're not. I mean, I'll pull up Alphabet right now. They did in the recent quarter $28.2 billion in net income in 3 months. Their cash from operations was $27.7 billion. And that's because they had a change in income taxes that it was significantly lower than the previous quarters on that. That hit the cash flow statement. These are not companies that are slowing down on their investments. They're the only companies that matter because they're the only companies that can spend this type of capital. Nobody else can compete with them.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. There's no way. You like Costco better than NVIDIA, right?
I mean, you really want to go there?
I don't know if we want to go there or not. If you
I
guys
mean,
want to
I'm sure you read everything. Do you think I was out of line?
I think you're right. I mean, I see.
I'm not asking if I was right or not. I'm asking if you thought I was out of line with what I said.
I don't think so. I think the second post, you were maybe not intentionally and not necessarily, there was nothing malicious on this, but taking him a little bit out of the context on what he was meaning, tongue in cheek. Like, I don't think he was making the argument. I think he was making a joke, in other words. So, and you treated the joke seriously.
Which one was that? About
Deckers, I think.
Dillard's,
thank you. Yeah.
I mean, he may have been making a joke, but I mean, here's my thing. I answered all of his questions, and I think I answered them very truthfully and non-biased, even though the questions were obviously biased, skewed toward Costco. And if you actually read, or anybody reads what I wrote on that, I mean, I didn't shy away from making his points for him, in addition to making the points for NVIDIA. So, I mean, if we really read that, it's very true. And he straight up asked me, or said that I can ask him any question. And when I asked him a question, he started saying I was attacking him. So I don't know how, when you tell me to ask you a question and I do, you say I'm attacking you.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous. And in all fairness, the post that he put, whichever one I responded to, maybe the third time, where he put obviously the last line as a joke. Okay, you said the last line is a joke. You didn't say the rest of the post was a joke. Like, you specifically put the last line as a joke when he said maybe we need to call it the Mag 8 or whatever. Okay, so that you said was a joke, but obviously the rest of it wasn't, and that's what I responded to.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you do a good job of like saying, well, to be fair, this, and this. And he did make a point, regarding there's no way you can look at Costco and say it's cyclical. It is tied to economy, but it's safe as a company, but as its valuation, it doesn't. I think that takes away from his argument.
Look,
Honestly,
here's the problem that I have with Costco, and this has nothing to do with the conversation I got in. But I am gonna, before I make that point, I do want to say, look, X is a public forum. You can disagree with me on whatever you want. That's fine. I'm not going to block you. I really don't care. I really don't use X that much, right? But I do think if you're going to put out something like that and somebody responds to you intelligently, blocking them is a little ridiculous instead of engaging with them, because you're opening the floor for engagement by making a statement on a public forum that X is. And I wrote out a pretty intelligent thing about why I disagreed about Costco deserving a higher valuation. And when I look at Costco, there are true challenges to their business. They do not have the logistical network that Amazon does. Let's call a spade a spade. Amazon's logistical network is the best logistical network behind the Department of Defense. There is not a company that has a better logistical network than Amazon. I think we can all agree on that, whether it is Walmart, Target, Costco, FedEx, UPS, United States Post Office. Amazon logistically is the winner. Now, if they decide to scale into big box items more, that could be a serious problem for Costco. Also, when we talk about memberships, sure, Costco membership is sticky now, but let's not forget that Amazon also has a membership that is very sticky. And I have both. If I had to choose between one, Costco membership's going out the door before Prime does. Like
yeah,
that's just a fact. And in an on-demand society that we are in, Costco does not have the e-commerce brand that can deliver next day or same day or within 48 hours, depending on where you live. Whereas Amazon does. And as more younger people start spending their money instead of their parents' money, they're probably more likely to shop with Amazon than Costco. And I got to say, I do not think that Costco deserves a multiple that is higher than Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Meta. It's crazy talk. They don't have the earnings power. They have a 2.9% profit margin. It's just they don't have the earnings growth. And
yeah.
they're recession proof. No, they're not. Okay, sure. Everybody has to spend on groceries and toiletries and that type of stuff. Sure. But when you have a 3% profit margin, you are now at the risk of inflation and other macro and geopolitical tensions, because if oil goes up on a price per barrel, your input costs could go up. That could eat away at your gross margin, which can eat away at your operating and net income margin. Like they don't have the margin to play with, and that's the problem with Costco.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like the same thing was said. This was back, maybe the great financial crisis, might have been slightly before, slightly after. That Starbucks was recession proof simply because, people would always be willing to pay for that. I mean, you look at the shape that the company's in today. Obviously, that's not true. Taste can change, expenses can change, costs can change.
Can I say
Yeah.
something about Starbucks? I started drinking coffee again.
Okay.
So I stopped for 8 months. Okay. It was really hot the other week. And I'm like, man, an iced coffee would be so good. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I went 8 months. I can have one.
Oh, no.
My wife says to me, you're going to drink coffee every day now. I'm like, no, I'm just going to have one. She's like, every day you're going to drink coffee. I'm back to every day drinking coffee. I'm not drinking nearly as much as I was. I got to tell you something. I love Starbucks, okay?
Yeah.
Look, I'm not really looking at the price when I go to Starbucks. I'm ordering on the app and I pick it up. I got to tell you, I saw the price of what I was buying. I was like, really? I couldn't believe it.
It's gone up a
And,
little.
and I'm like, when did their prices go up? I legitimately could not believe it.
Yeah, I rarely go. I'm not a huge coffee drinker, but I'll be invited out by a friend, coworker, colleague, and I'll go kind of begrudgingly. I just prefer to slam an energy drink, honestly. But yeah, I mean they're good beverages.
So bad for you though.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Oh, you know
what I'm buying at Starbucks is also bad. I'm not getting black coffee.
Okay, I'm getting I'm either just getting a black coffee and putting a little bit half and half in there, or I'm gonna get a cappuccino.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, when I saw it, like the corner of my eye, and I looked at it because I'm like, am I reading that correctly? I actually couldn't believe it. But I am getting very interested in this Neurogum. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God. So I went down a kind of a rabbit hole on this stuff. I think I want to try it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to just do one and then you're one and done, especially with caffeine. It is not as addictive as some things, but it's something I enjoy. I wanted to ask you, so AIPCon was this week for Palantir.
Yep.
Over 3 hours worth of content. I've not even
I
digested
haven't
all.
seen a single thing.
Yeah,
I saw
okay.
a mid interview with Carp, and that was it. I've been slammed at work. I don't have time.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw 2 clips of interviews that Carp did afterwards with the media, and the opening like maybe hour. And likewise, slammed limited time. It's something that I will be digesting over the next probably couple of weeks. You mentioned that you expect Palantir to grow north of 50%. Or
Well,
is
it's not
this
that I expect. They basically said it without saying it. I mean,
yeah,
and here's why I say that. They told you what they're projecting to do in Q3 for their revenue. And when you look at what they did in Q3 2024 and you minus them out and you look at the difference, it's like 49.8%. And then they gave you year-end guidance. So, okay, we know what Q3 is supposed to be. So if they come in with Q3 guidance and then we know what they did in Q1 and Q2 and we minus those out from the full year, we see that Q4 is probably going to grow 42% year over year. I mean, it's not hard to do that math. Like company's incredible.
Yeah, and I've been, and it maybe it's a mistake, maybe it's not, but slowly doing a dollar cost average. People were making fun when I bought 5 shares at a higher amount than it was here. But
I'll
I'm like,
make
hey,
fun of you for that because I think, but I mean, I make fun of everybody because I think it's overvalued.
yeah. Well, I mean, like the valuation is ridiculous. It is. The company is also ridiculous, but the other direction. And I'm like, hey, I would love for the stock to just plummet and just go like 90% in Palantir, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'd love for Bears.
If Palantir somehow, and I'm not saying it's going to, I'm not saying I want it to because I don't want people to lose money. Okay.
Yeah.
But if Palantir came down to 50, I would go so heavy into it and just not look at it for 5 or 10 years.
So, okay, heavy is it's hypothetical. So no one's going to hold your feet to the fire.
Much heavier than I am.
So are you talking about like north of 20% of your portfolio would be Palantir?
If it came down to 50,
yeah,
I would probably put 35 to 40%.
Yeah, at $50.
Now, keep in mind when I throw that type of number out, I'm not talking about retirement accounts.
Oh yeah.
I'm not talking about my wife's accounts. I'm talking about my personal accounts that are taxable non-retirement.
I regard my crypto differently. I don't add that in. I've got a bunch of ETF stuff that just I don't even look at that, so but my individual accounts that I actually manage, if Palantir is trading at $50, nothing has changed as far as the market, the world, Palantir. It's all exactly the same. The only thing that's changed is the valuation. I'd probably be 75% Palantir at that point.
I think I have a mental block at going over 50%, but yeah, I'm in the same camp as you. It's just if nothing changes with the business and it's just simply a value-driven thing, for whatever reason, Palantir is one of the best operated companies we've ever seen. I am not afraid to say that. I will say that all day long. I will give them their flowers. I hate the valuation. I love everything the company stands for, and I love every last metric that they put up.
Do you remember back when we there was internal discussion on like maybe Alex Karp isn't the best fit as CEO, maybe we should divest government from commercial. Just like it looks so silly right now.
Some people were, I never said that we should divest government.
Yeah.
I was angry about his comments in Q2 2023 when he slammed his hand on the table and he acted like a child. I was very angry about that, but I was not in the camp of government and commercial should be different companies.
Yeah, no, that was probably like the most frustrating point as shareholders is when he had that fist slamming moment. The terribly not good earnings. I think that was the earnings where they reported 13% year-over-year growth, which is terrible when you're doing stock-based compensation like they were doing, especially as a percentage of revenue. And then the tone itself, the way that it was all wrong. Now, thankfully, that's in the distant past. Companies always will make missteps and mistakes. CEOs, nobody's perfect, even Alex Karp. So, but man, what a company!
It's been a ride.
Yeah, I like some of the things that they're showing off in AIPCon 8 too, like just like early preview. Just was it Delta? It wasn't Delta Airlines. It was American. No, it wasn't. One of the airlines companies. It's just an old line airlines company. Now, of course, they are using because of Airbus Skywise product, which Airbus and Palantir co-created.
They built that a while ago. That was one of their first big platforms that they built.
And so Palantir's limited on what they can do. They can't like say, okay, we made you guys this, and then we're going to create a competing product. But there's still a lot that Palantir can do, and I love seeing airlines that are like, hey, we dipped our toe into Palantir. We're using even more. BP also had a great snippet as well. One of those early customers, they were so convicted by Palantir that they bought some stake initially. And BP has gone from, like, hey, this is cool technology. This can help us a lot to like, okay, what else can we use it for? And just that's kind of how Palantir grows. And one of the big things is that net dollar retention is massive because companies see that real
122% now, I think, or something like that.
I believe it was 128.
It's over 120 now. It was 118 and it jumped quite a bit. It's incredible.
It's 128 right here. I am no longer sharing. Let me.
And here's the big part that I think a lot of people are missing. In addition to the analyst community, I don't think that they necessarily understand what the impacts of the net dollar retention at 125 to 130% is, because Palantir does not include any contracts that they've signed over the past year into that. And when you look at the growth over the past 12 months of all the contracts that they've signed, especially deals over $5 and $10 million, we may see growth rates next year still over 30%, which would be insane. They may even get close to 40%.
Yeah, I was going to say probably around 40 is.
I'm trying to be conservative and not pump it up, but it's one of the most incredible companies operate I've ever seen.
And to give Benioff full circle back to, he talked about the company his size. You're not going to grow 50% year over year. Now, there are exceptions, NVIDIA, but when there's like literally one exception, that pretty much is the exception that proves the rule. So he does have a point, and as Palantir grows and scales, even with net dollar retention, and as amazing as this product is, even if international starts actually doing something, they're not going to consistently over the next 5 to 10 years grow 50% year over year. If they did, I mean, that's ridiculous and amazing. But even like 35%, CAGR over 5 to 10 years is ridiculous, amazing, and
especially with their margins.
Oh, yeah,
their margins are incredible.
This isn't what you're talking about.
Likes to think that I'm like some Palantir bear. Like, I can't say enough good things about the company. The only problem is the valuation.
Yeah, I mean, like literally, you can nitpick and be like, well, international is growing a little bit slower.
I look at it holistically. You're putting up those growth rates. I don't care where it's coming from. You're putting up the growth rates. Not
in one of the interviews, Karp made the point where they're like, hey, Benioff, was talking about the U.S. government and the revenue, being the beneficiary of Palantir. And Karp, responded to that. And he's like, well, I mean, if you look at it, it's actually slowing us down.
Right.
U.S. commercial is growing, close to 100% year over year. Government is doing ridiculous things, but it's a slow grower compared to U.S. commercial. So it's just, amazing company. Hate the valuation. Would love to get it more cheaply. I'm adding just a little bit here and there. But
I will
yeah,
tell you, and I know you're a Tesla fan.
Well, company more so than the stock these days, but yes.
I have a very big decision I have to make by September 19th.
Okay.
I was in the camp that I'm going to not roll for a while. I was then in the camp where it benefits me a little bit more to roll to November because I'll make more money just rolling it up, taking the credit now, and I'll be able to increase my strike a little bit. So I'll get some liquidity today and make more money on the back end. I got to tell you, on principle, I kind of just don't care anymore. And I'm kind of thinking this incentive program for Elon is so ridiculous. I want nothing to do with it.
Okay.
It is the most insane thing I've ever heard.
I actually, I'm the other way around. Let me pull that up just so people can see what we're talking about. Now, Tevis and I, we have a pre-recorded bootleg weekly because we could make it work otherwise this coming week, and we did talk a good bit about it. Here it is. This is Evan. He typed this up and put this in here.
Oh,
so,
very nice. Somebody actually, I was looking for something like this and I couldn't find it.
No, he's great. So the way this works, guys, is each of these tranches are equal amounts of shares. This is a lot of shares. He gets, if he keeps and retains or is restored his initial package, and this package is approved and they hit all of them, he owns 28.5% of the company. In order to do this, each of these tranches need to hit both a market cap and an operations milestone. Now, each operations milestone is it's not the 20 million Tesla vehicles delivered. It's tied to the 2 trillion. Any can be matched with any other. So let's say they don't get to like 6.5 trillion and above. Maybe they don't reach the 1 million in robotaxi commercial, then that can be paired with that. So some of these are a lot easier to pair with than others. Now, Steve, what I like about this is 2 things. One is market cap here. Like if we go to $8.5 trillion as far as the market cap of Tesla, unless they do a ridiculous amount of dilution, which kind of defeats the purpose of all of this, what Elon Musk is doing. So I don't think they're doing that.
So let me say one thing before you keep going.
Sure.
Why I think this is absolutely ridiculous is because, and I could be wrong, but when I read through, they don't have these shares sitting there. They have to dilute everybody to give Elon these shares.
Yes, I mean that is true. There is dilution here, but I mean, like what I'm saying is, if he gets all of these, and Tesla is trading at $8.5 trillion market cap or above,
he 8X's the company, everybody benefits. I don't have a problem with that aspect.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, in my mind, it's a bit different, but it's like the egregious stock-based compensation that's given to Alex Karp. You look at the number of shares, you look at the wealth he's generated. It's insane. It seems like when it was decided irresponsible and ridiculous. Same with Peter Thiel, but actually it's not, because you look at what they've executed at as a company. Now the stock. The other thing that I like about this too is it's not just tied to market cap. So for Palantir, they had those RSUs that vested, and it was based on market cap only. Of course, Palantir is trading at a very stretched valuation right now. Well, this is saying, no, market cap is not enough. You need to drive shareholder value, yes, but also the business needs to be in a fundamentally better point. For them to go, do you know what their current adjusted EBITDA is on an annualized basis?
And here's why I am a little annoyed at this, because one, how are they adjusting EBITDA? Because every company has a different way of projecting their adjusted EBITDA. So I'd like clarification on what they are actually backing out to get adjusted EBITDA over EBITDA. That's the first thing. Like, I would like clarification on that. Maybe they gave it, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I've not seen that. I'm not
their
sure.
EBITDA is not that much. I mean, I don't know what their adjusted is, but their EBITDA, I'll bring it up right now.
And that's what a few people also said that didn't like this. Most people are like, hey, this is great. But honestly, I think at this point, like, Tesla stock if you don't like Elon, you don't trust Elon, you've been out and gone a long time. Most of us remaining are like, yeah, we trust to a certain extent. Doesn't mean you have to approve this or not. For them to hit this, they're at around 25 billion adjusted EBITDA. That's
So
it's a
where are you seeing that? Because right now I'm seeing that the EBITDA is 11.4 billion. So how are we getting their adjusted EBITDA? What are we putting back in of this number? Are we putting back in the dilution?
I would have to look. But I know that they have a lot of stock-based compensation too. So that was one of the worries is that like, hey, what if they really ramp up stock-based compensation? But honestly, like, I think the most important thing for Elon is the amount of shares that he actually has, so he can actually have sway over the direction of the company, more so than the monetary.
That's why they're doing this, to keep him engaged, because that's all he cares about is the voting rights. So they had to come up with a package to get him to a certain number of shares.
Yeah. This comment I thought was good. Pedro says, my take, I don't know how Elon can pull this off, but I don't have insider knowledge that Elon may have about his empire. Well, that's the nice thing is if this is approved for shareholders, like the risk is on him. I mean, it is for shareholders anyway. It's an investment thing, but if it doesn't work out, he gets nothing. And shareholders, that you still have the same company. You still have
Here's
the same
part of the thing I don't like. Like, the board is basically saying that they have to incentivize their CEO to stay and keep providing value. If he leaves, half of his net worth goes down by half. Like, let's be honest. If he leaves Tesla, Tesla's not going to be a $350 stock. Tesla's going down to like 150 overnight or in a month, something like that. It's going down a lot. And half of his net worth is in Tesla. Like, he will destroy not just his net worth on the surface, but think about all the debt that is backed by Tesla shares. Like, he can't leave. So I don't know why they have to give him such a crazy package, one. Two, look, regardless if you think he can or he can't hit it, the last time people bet against him, they were wrong. If anybody can pull this off, it's Elon. So
yeah. And that adjusted EBITDA, like no matter, unless I don't see any way that they can adjust it and it still not be meaningful, huge, ridiculous growth, especially for that 400 billion amount. There's no company in the world that comes close to that, including NVIDIA right now. So this is basically them saying, if Tesla becomes, like Elon said, the most valuable company in the world, not just barely, but by a lot, then Elon deserves to be rewarded a lot. And I agree. Like, we can argue about the amount. We can say it's too much. Now, the other thing that they're putting in this as well is clauses that seek guarantees from Elon that he will not be as heavily involved in politics as he was in the past. We'll see how that goes. I'm the one thing I'm skeptical on is if this will be enough to keep his attention on Tesla, the company. I'm very skeptical. But if it's not, this won't be awarded.
Here is where I'm at on that. The Tesla shareholders should benefit from his other endeavors because we know that he's going to still work on them. Tesla should have had an investment in SpaceX. It should have had an investment in XAI. It should have had an investment in Boring, in Neuralink, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't. Well, maybe they need to roll everything up into one company.
Well, I mean, they're talking a little bit about that. XAI, Tesla investing directly in XAI is one of those things where the board is neutral on. It's obviously something Elon Musk wants quite a bit. It makes a lot of sense for the
vertical. Are you going to tell me that they didn't use Tesla assets and personnel to build that company?
I mean, like, that's the annoying thing.
Like, we saw them do it in real time with X. Like, we saw him take the Tesla engineers, walk into X, and rebuild it. You're telling me that they didn't build XAI with Tesla assets and resources?
Yeah.
Come on.
And I agree with Duck here that they should have a holding company. That
I agree, 100%.
It can be a separate entity held by Tesla. It's built by Tesla shareholders with Tesla capital. So, yeah.
I just don't like that they have to try to incentivize the guy that much to focus on a company that he's the CEO of. It's just, to me, it's annoying.
Yes. Have you ever heard of Josh Allen before? I know it's an obscure name.
Josh Allen, the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills.
Yes. A week or two ago, Tanner had never heard of this guy. MVP last year in the NFL.
I mean, Buffalo is basically a Canadian football team. Like,
I know it's near Toronto too. It's
like right there.
So Josiah here asked, I want to throw at least one SoFi thing in there. Stock's been doing well, company's doing well. It's great. What's Steve's thoughts on SoFi, Josh Allen, and SoFi outlook with interest rates coming?
I don't think Josh Allen matters for SoFi. I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, so I'm happy that he's part of the SoFi team. But I don't think that matters as much as rate cuts. And I mean, I've been selling cover calls on SoFi finally, and premiums are starting to get pretty good. I'd like to see SoFi at 30 because the premiums will be even better. But I think that SoFi is going to do really well when the Fed starts cutting. We have a Fed meeting in 2 weeks. CME Group just updated their percentages, and there is now an 11.8% chance that there's a 50 basis point reduction.
Yeah, I had actually not looked at that since the beginning of the week. So yeah.
Unless it, 11% now.
Of a 2
for a 50 rate. There is not even a 1% chance that we're getting a
literally now 0% probability.
Look how it's gone in a week. Go back down from 13.6% that it stays to now 11% that we get 50 bips off.
Yeah, that is, and a lot of it's jobs numbers. I mean, honestly, does that have you concerned at all as far as jobs numbers, or is it too much macro?
No, I mean, listen, my stance on unemployment. I was one of the only people that was saying inverted yield curve does not matter for recession. I was one of the only people that said, I kept saying it was a coincidence that was an indicator, should have never been an indicator. Whenever you have unemployment go up by 1%, 1% is the critical number. You can go back to podcasts from 2 years ago when I was saying this. 1% unemployment increase, we have either been in or just started a recession at that point. We have to take this very seriously, and I don't think that we're ready for what is going to happen from robotics and AI when it comes to jobs. We're already seeing it. We've never seen computer coding and computer programmers be in the position that they're in right now. It is not good. And when you add trucking, you add all these other things with service industry, I'm very worried of where this goes. I really am, because I don't know where the new jobs are going to come from.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. I've got the same concern. I am a huge, I hate the idea of UBI. I think it's demeaning and destructive, but if it's, I hope it doesn't become necessary.
I don't see a way around it at this point in the future.
That's my fear. And I've talked to people a lot smarter than I have, and they've largely said the same thing. So my mind is like, this time really could be different. Like, there will be new jobs, but are they going to one-for-one replace? No, I don't think so. And there's always some disruption. I think here it's going to be massive, just because you're not going to train a 50-year-old truck driver. Let's say it's all automated 10 years from now, to be able to do something like completely different. Like, some of them will, and some will do some things that are fun. But that's
not forget a very important part of this. This isn't the 1920s or 30s. Now, maybe I got my dates wrong, but this isn't the Industrial Revolution. You have people with massive amounts of college debt that are going to have their lives displaced. Back then, nobody had freaking student loans. Like, nobody seems to want to talk about that aspect of this. That when the Industrial Revolution happened, and 98% or 88%, whatever the percentages of farm jobs went into manufacturing and industrialization, nobody wants to talk about the idea of, well, maybe this time we have to think about all the other implications with credit debt, from not just credit cards, but student loans, and people who have 50, 100, 150,000 student loan debt, and now their job is being displaced, or they can't get a computer programming job. So now they're at the whim of whatever happens with this debt that is not expungible in bankruptcy court. So I think this time is going to be different.
Yeah, that's my fear as well. So we'll have to see, but it's uh, at least there's people that are working aware of the problem as well. Heinze had a good point. I've got two boys that are in the trying to figure out a career route. My oldest was drawn to and loved coding, and basically when shortly before LLMs came out, he actually was quite prescient. He's like, "Hey, I'm not sure that this type of job is going to be around in 15 years." And he might be right. There will be coders, but just not. That's one of those surprises is massive disruption, not just in blue collar jobs.
Look at Zuck. Zuck is saying that he's replacing a lot of his computer programmers already with AI.
Yeah. Yeah, and it'll take more time than some, though, like the CEO of Klarna expect, but it's not going to take, it's going to be playing out far more quickly than even the last massive disruption wave, which was the internet. We're moving at light speed.
Yeah, but the internet wasn't disruption the way that this is. The internet spawned so many jobs.
It did.
This is not going to spawn jobs. All this is doing is automating everything. The internet didn't automate anything. The internet just made it easier to communicate and build. Yes. This is, I see destruction with this, but what do I know?
Yeah. And I need to comment on this real quick too, because this is one of those misconceptions that I think that needs to be talked about more. I've got a video. It's Open Door. It's one of the more recent ones on a mistake that the bulls are making with Open Door. Real estate, and I'm not going to go through the whole argument, but basically there's a perception, and it was in my mind in 2023 as well until somebody corrected it. I looked at the data and they're right, that the 30-year mortgage rate is inferred from the Fed funds rate. It's not at all. It's tied to the 10-year Treasury yield.
Tied to the 10-year, but looking at the way the 30 moves is very important.
Yes.
Just look at the way the 30-year mortgage rate moves. I'm not talking about the 30-year bond. The 10-year bond is what the 30-year mortgage is based off of, but it's important because the 10-year bond moves off of the Fed funds rate. So they're all intertwined.
Yeah. If there are rate cuts, especially what we looked at here just a moment ago of 2 cuts in September, it will have a small impact on the mortgage rates, but not as, or really it's a 10-year yield and then the mortgage rate as a result, but not nearly as much as people expect. Like the biggest driver of that is supply and demand. And there is a ton of supply because the United States government cannot control its spending problem. It's just spending like crazy right now. So as a result, there's a lot of supply. Demand is not, what you would hope necessarily. Some of that's tariff stuff. So that's not going to save the real estate market alone. I do expect that when rate cuts hit, there's going to be a lot of companies, including real estate stocks, whether they're impacted directly or not over even the next year, they'll still fly up because everybody
need the Fed rate to get to 3%.
That would be helpful. Yeah.
Because if the Fed rate gets to 3%, the 10-year will be under 4%. If the 10-year is under 4%, you'll get the 30-year down from around 6, 8, or 7, wherever it is now, probably to 4.5 to 5. And then you'll have people that actually will consider getting out of a 3% mortgage.
So
but nobody's getting out of a 3% for a 6.5% mortgage. Like that's just not happening.
Oh, no. Yeah, we're likely to move actually once we get to about 5%, but that may take a while. So
it may take a while.
Yeah. Rate cuts, though, very good for SoFi. Very, very good. It's incredibly well positioned. On almost every leg of the business is beneficial. The one that's not is the yield at the top, but they're still going to have one of the best yields out there for those that are using SoFi as their bank, especially compared to JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, the old line guards, which is what they're going after. So incredibly beneficial, even if it's not necessarily specifically towards the
SoFi's originations is what you got to look at. They're going to go through the roof.
Oh yeah, like the loan platform. Like that's one of the coolest things is if they didn't have the loan platform business, it would still be great, but they would be capital constrained. They would either have to dilute or have to be very picky with their loans. They would still be selling loans as well, but the loan platform business basically removes all of that overhead where they don't have to worry about being capital constrained. as there's more and more rate cuts, the demand ramps. And I've been like spammed by SoFi. I'm a SoFi customer, shareholder as well. And they want to give out, especially before these rate cuts, as many loans as they can possibly get. So we'll see. I see one more here, Steve. Are you an Adobe shareholder? Any thoughts on Adobe?
No, I mean, look, I think by the numbers it's undervalued, but I think we really need to see what they put up because, look, I think the more that AI has advanced significantly since I made my original thesis on Adobe, and I may have to change my original thesis and either go neutral or bearish on it, only because as great as this company is and as profitable as they are and as amazing as the margins are, I don't know if they're going to be relevant in 2 years from now at this point with the rate of what you can do with AI, like the newsletter that I started, okay? And I would have needed a graphic designer to freaking build me. I just went to Grok and I typed in, make me this, and it made me 4 options. Like, I don't like this, make me this, but do it this way. I mean, it legitimately took 20 seconds for it to do it. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I want to read the call. I want to see what it says.
Yeah, it's just kind of interesting, but AI really does seem so. I was sharing this with Tevis earlier, but there was this saying, and I'm sure you've heard it, that software it will eat the world, and now it's AI eating software. It's not necessarily that. That's not originally with me. Somebody else came up with that, and like that's a fair take. If you look at valuations of a lot of software as a service companies, enterprise software, you name it, a lot of them are not performing very well, despite growing decently well, just because of that disruption.
But there's a big difference between software and Adobe at the moment. Traditional software companies, I'm just going to throw a bunch out: SAP, Oracle, Workday, Salesforce. They're going to get enhanced because of AI, and companies are going to be able to do more with their product because of AI. I don't know that Adobe follows suit. And in fact, I think stuff like ChatGPT and Grok and other things will disrupt Adobe potentially because now you can just use them to do what you were using Adobe for. So I don't know. I think it's a problem, but we got to see what they say.
This is from Hameen Ball over at Altimeter. He posts these each week. Palantir has been #1 for a long time by almost every measure. It's trading at a high premium. Cloudflare is the other big one. I'd love to get in Cloudflare. I need it to fall. And it may not. Figma recent IPO, so they almost don't count. They're down quite a bit from where they were before. I think they'll probably fall a bit more. CrowdStrike's almost always at a premium. And then after that, like looking at all of these 5 through 10, if you go back 6 months, this type of valuation for almost all of these companies, and Shopify is a little bit odd in there, would look ridiculous.
Roy, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, they got to me. That's right. Very odd.
They did get to you. We'll see. Adobe scares me a little bit. I just don't know if they're going to be able to compete anymore. We'll see. Do we lose Roy again? What is going on? Probably a hailstorm down there in Texas. Who knows? What am I selling? I have options on my Tesla shares, so those I have to make a decision if they are going to get called away or not. And my SL Green, I have options for November that I have to make a decision. I think they're going to blow through my strike price, hopefully, once the Fed cuts. So we'll see. Those are my 2 decisions I have to make short term.
All right. Yeah, I've been making some decisions as well. One of those That'll come out on Tuesday, guys. It's a swing position thing. Well, I've alluded to it before, but it's regarding Duolingo and what I'm doing with that.
Are you still on the
Small
bull train with
spoiler, I'm
Duolingo
out
or
of
not?
it. I decided to go heavy into not SBET, BMNR. Oh man, I think it's just going to freeze up.
Duolingo?
Yeah, I'm out. I was not sure what I was doing with that. I decided to sell it and buy BMNR. Just really loaded up heavy with it.
What's the ticker for it?
Duolingo, DUOL.
So they tried, and you're on the thing, and I gave my stupid answers of why. Like, they were very remedial why. They were not intelligent for the people in the chat. We have a private group chat where they were talking about Duolingo, and I gave some very stupid remedial answers as why I'm not bullish. But those are my real raw thoughts of why I'm not bullish. And I don't see the relevancy for this company in the next 5 years. And I hope I'm wrong for everybody that's invested in it, but I think there's a real reason it's down down 50% in the past couple months. And we'll see. But the translation services that I'm seeing with these headphones and just, I don't know. Duolingo is just not for me.
Yeah. So I disagree as far as, the reason why and everything. Ultimately, for me, it wasn't the price action that changed it. And thankfully, it was a very small initial position. I think it's a great company. I don't think AI will disrupt, but rather enhance them. I don't think that the translation stuff, there's still going to be a demand for that learning platform. And they will actually spin off more than just languages. They're already doing it with chess and some other ventures as well. It works. It's going to work basically for anything that requires repetition on a regular basis because they're very, very good at that. But the reason why I sold Duolingo is because with BMNR, I'm like, okay, Duolingo, I think will be perfectly fine. I think it's going to be in a much better place in 5 years than where it is today. Ethereum, though, it just seems more obvious. It seems like a layup to me. BMNR. I already have the Ethereum position that I want to. So I'm like, I'm going to buy that dip. I already did. And then I trimmed a little bit of Duolingo just to round out something. And I'm like, okay, I want more BMNR. What do I need to give up? And I'm like, okay, Duolingo. So, and a lot of people are buying it. I'm not the only one. Maybe we're all wrong, but I don't think so. So,
I'm not on the train.
I did see a couple of related questions to this. What do you think of MicroStrategy? Are you interested in that at all?
I am interested in nothing related to Bitcoin.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair enough. You see it as fair enough. It's kind of like gold. That back in the day, gold was a reserve asset, and gold was used for.
I would rather have my 5-ounce silver paperweight right here than freaking Bitcoin. As stupid as that may sound to people.
Physical silver is fun. I mean, it's nice.
So much fun.
Yeah, I've got some. I sold a good chunk of that. Well, I don't know. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I just have some rounds. These are not even. I've got American Silver Eagles too, but yeah, I'll show you. This was the funny thing. So at the church that I go to, sometimes weird things are put in the offering plate, and somebody, we don't know who, put in physical silver.
Did they really?
Yeah, and the treasurer was like, "What do I do with these?" And I was like, "Oh, well, you sell them to me.
Oh, nice.
And I'll buy them above spot." So they're not Silver Eagles or anything, but yeah, I'm like, why not?
You know what's been one of my best investments in like the past year and a half?
Gold?
Evolving Skies.
It's what now?
Evolving Skies.
Evolving Skies.
Pokemon cards. I paid $430 for this box of Pokemon cards. I'm going to have to check when I sent my buddy the money for it. $430. I feel like it was a year and a half ago. You ready for the price right now? $2,498.92.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
It is absolutely insane. And I told him, I'm like, dude, trust me, buy the other box that's on the shelf. Just buy it. He didn't buy it. He didn't listen. It is freaking incredible. Like, There's boxes that I bought a year ago or like a year and a couple months ago that I paid $98 for. They're trading for $580 right now.
Congratulations.
It's insane. The Pokemon market is insane. It's insane.
There's a lot of Pokemon comments in the but
everybody was waiting for me to go on the Pokemon rant. They were waiting.
Yeah, I had a friend back actually before COVID that was investing in sneakers, and I was like, sneakers? What are you talking? And then I figured out, like, okay, yeah, that's a real thing. People make a lot of money off of it. Good job. If you know that, like, there's a lot of different things you can get into. Wanted to comment on this real quick too. I've not looked into that. I expected Enphase to actually go out. I figured that they would sell off, and that would be an opportunity entry in. I'm seeing energy demand be through the roof. In the United States, I think will have no point at some point. It may, might have to wait until after the midterms to pivot on this anti-green policy that they currently have, just because the quickest and easiest thing to ramp is the green energy, especially on solar. And nuclear is great. I'm glad that we're bullish on nuclear. But so Enphase, of course, does have a smaller commercial line. They're mostly residential, but there's a lot of winners there. So I'm not sure what drove it up to 7% today. I've not had time to look, but
can you bring up Mike T real quick? Are you talking about the super premium? Because that's what I was referencing, the one that I paid like 95 and it's trading at 580. Roy, I'm telling you, the Pokemon market has gotten so insane. It's incredible. I was on Alex's podcast on Nostalgianomics last week, and it's really incredible, the demand for this that's happening.
So why? Like, I get it if we were in the middle of COVID and you're getting free money, but like, why now?
There are more buyers than sellers. They are not printing enough product, and the rip and shippers, the way that I believe that this is working, all the rip and shippers, like I know Alex's numbers, I'm not going to say what his numbers are. I mean, he's ripping thousands of packs a night on stream that people are paying for. And he's not even one of the bigger rip and shippers. With everybody on YouTube and everybody on whatnot, there's just, you can't get product. Like Pokemon booster boxes were going anywhere from $100 to $120 2 years ago. Mega Evolutions, which it hasn't come out yet, comes out in 2 weeks, I believe. The booster box is already selling pre-sale for $299. It's insane. MSRP, which everybody thought MSRP was bullshit. Like if you paid MSRP, you're overpaying. It's $164. You used to be able to go buy from P Football Pete on eBay for $104.99. Free shipping. Those deals don't exist. The demand is so insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird to me. Heinze put it this way. It kind of makes sense, I guess. Disney nostalgia with virgin nerdy dudes, and you get Pokemon.
No, dude. I went to the East Coast National Sports Car Convention 2 or 3 weeks ago. Okay. I went there with a lot of cash. My buddies went there with a lot of cash. The amount of people, there was thousands of people there. There's 500 vendors. There had to have been 3,000 or 4,000 people walking around. Easy. When I tell you that you used to go to shows to get deals because they were willing to bargain, and it's obviously not taxed. eBay, they're not taking 13.5%. Nobody wanted to make deals. Like I was offering 90% of what comps are. No, we're not interested. We'll just hold it. Somebody will be here to buy it. And I'm not talking about like $50 cards. Like it's just the amount of money that's coming into this. And when you get Kevin O'Leary spending $13 million on the Jordan Kobe logo fractor card, and now talking about tokenizing these and making an index, the money that's in this is huge and it's not stopping.
Is that a sign that we have too much liquidity?
No.
People have too much discretionary money? Yeah.
I don't think so. I hate to say it, but I think it's more when you and I were kids This is something that they are doing with their kids now, and they have the money to do it with their kids. That's truly what I think this is now.
So it's different, and I think baseball cards have made a little bit of a comeback than where they were back when I started having kids that were old enough to actually appreciate them. But I had a whole bunch of 80s and 90s baseball cards, a whole bunch. I'd mow lawns in the summertime. Can you still hear me? I might be frozen. Well, I might be frozen. I'm not sure if you guys can still hear me or not. It may be Steve. People are saying Steve. So I'll just keep talking. I would mow lawns up in Alaska during the summertime, and like probably 75% of, oh, bummer, he left. He might be coming back, maybe. Maybe 75% was going into baseball cards and later Magic the Gathering cards. So, it's like looking at those and I'm like, hey, these might be worth something one day. They weren't. Barely worth their cardboard. That does happen as well. But yeah, I think that people make good points on why Pokemon is doing really well. It's nostalgia, disposable income. You're hitting that. You're wanting to share it with your kids. Supply and demand. The civilization part of Alaska. Near Anchorage. So I was just saying that I get the appeal of this just because I collected baseball cards and Magic the Gathering cards back in the 80s and 90s. So
the other thing is so many people are doing it to make money. I mean, there's a huge amount of people just doing this as a side hustle to make money. It's crazy. You have a Black Lotus?
I had a friend in high school that had several of those, and there were some other that didn't make revised. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've been in Magic. I don't own any cards anymore. But yeah, he had multiple Black Lotus cards, and I hope he kept them. He was a cool dude.
Yeah, you can't see with the back. It's a Palantir card.
Okay.
From Magic.
No, I played a ton of Magic. We had long lunch breaks in the school that we were at, and so like half the time we were playing chess and half the time we were playing Magic. So it's great.
Well, I would have loved to play. Nobody would. I'm not going to go to a shop and sit down and play. And Magic just wasn't a thing when I grew up. Yeah. So.
I even was in a few tournaments. Like in Alaska, it was harder, but we had to travel a little bit too. But did some tournaments that were quite fun. But playing with friends is the best. I had a younger brother too, so good. So I understand the nostalgia. I understand disposable income. That actually makes a lot more sense. Last question here, Stephen. I think we'll wrap because the internet's telling me like it might be time. Do you have any thoughts on AMD at all?
Yeah, that's the worst freaking thing I ever did in my life. Well, maybe not my life, but one of the worst investment decisions I ever made selling it.
Oh, yeah.
I had a lot of shares at a very low price point, and I sold the whole lot at $3.67.
Yeah, I mean, so it pulled back along with NVIDIA on the Broadcom news, I think, today. But yeah, you'd still be up a ton. My thoughts are basically, I think Lisa Su is an excellent, maybe even amazing CEO. I think AMD is a very, very good, at least, company. There's two companies I would rather invest in over AMD in that space and sector. One is TSM. I'm not invested in it, but I'd rather be in TSM. I think it's trading like ridiculously cheaply right now. I'm not really sure why. The other is NVIDIA. And I even though AMD, especially back a while, it would have made sense. Hey, AMD is really cheap. Buy it. Went on this massive run. But myself, I would rather buy the leader than the second best that's a little bit cheaper.
I got a hot take.
Okay.
And I haven't necessarily flushed this out of my mind yet, but when you said AMD, I'm actually thinking I'd rather buy Intel right now. And here's why.
Ooh.
What are the chances that Trump goes to Tim Cook and be like, hey, Tim Apple, I want you to spend $50 billion with Intel on chips. I want you to fabricate your chips with Intel. How about Trump going to freaking this person or that person now that the government owns 10% of Intel?
That's actually kind of my fear.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying, connect the dots. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like that's kind of my fear of getting this direct stake. Like I wouldn't mind if it was done through a strategic reserve. And like, hey, we own a basket of American companies, including Intel. Fine. Here, I don't hate it as much just because they've given so much money with almost no strings attached to Intel. I still don't like it though because of things like that, and because it also could set a precedent. And it's like, hey, we own 10% of all these other companies and stuff. So yeah, Roto is pretty excited that you own it. Osiris as well. And honestly, like Tevis has been saying this too, and I've not done anything with it. But he's like, hey, is it time to just get into Intel? Because it's kind of like, it's not the same, but it's kind of like when Donald Trump multiple times signaled like, hey, it might be a good time to buy equities. What they've done with Intel, maybe it's worth a swing trade there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, there's a lot of companies that rely on TSM for fabrication. U.S. government takes a stake in Intel. Who's to say that phone calls don't get made?
Yeah. Well, what always holds me back though is like Intel has done less with more than anybody. And like, nope, I didn't share it again. Let me do that here. This is their chart.
So
one of the ugliest out there. If you want to talk about opportunity cost, they're trading at the value, the price per share, not valuation, as they were back in 1997. So that's hard to do as a company and still be in business. Also, when they've been given literally the world. Now, some of that is not their own fault. I do think what they're doing as far as Foundry is of national security interests. I like that they're doing that as an American. I don't know. But maybe as a swing trade, I got to give it more thought. You made some good points. Tevis makes some good points. Matt Money makes up to his membership. So thank you, Matt. Yeah, Intel runs like the DMV. It already kind of does. So honestly, like from what I've heard, their customers don't love, like nobody loves Intel. People that work there don't love it. Customers don't love it. They're just a pain, much like the DMV. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for joining us. We're going to go ahead and close off the stream for Market Madness in lieu of Fintech Friday. We should be back next week for Fintech Friday. We'll talk more SoFi likely then.
I mean, we've been going for over an hour and 45 minutes, and Tanner's still late.
He's still late. I know. Like we sent the invite. Like, what is he? No, just kidding. He was
no,
never.
I'm not kidding. He's still late.
He is always late. That is Tanner. All right. You guys have a good night and have a great weekend. Take care.
Later, everyone.